Great. So, hello everyone. My name is Matin, and I know that this is the last presentation, and everybody here is looking forward to the lunch. So I'm gonna keep it pretty quick. The title of my presentation is PM Process Automation. Start small, think big. This is going to be a little bit different than the regular presentation. So I'm going to talk about an idea, not the thing that I've done, but partly I'm going to also mention what I've done in this internship. So in the agenda, I'm gonna first, I know that many people here are familiar with, but I'm gonna mention the Applied AI project team process that we have. Then I'm gonna talk about automation opportunities and its importance that we can have in our process. Then I will talk about the hidden complexity of the automation. It might sound pretty simple and easy to do the automation, but there are some hidden complexities that we're not aware, and it is worth mentioning. And then I will talk about the path forward and how at least I envision this process. So about the applied AI project types and outcomes, we have in the industry team, we have many different types of the projects that are being defined and done in this team that's actually make many engagements with Victor itself and also sponsoring companies and people from outside the Victor. So they can be categorized in 4 different categories: AI training initiatives, diversity and inclusion initiatives, collaborative and research-driven initiatives, and short-term intensive engagements, something like bootcamps and roundtables that I'm sure everybody's familiar with. So the point here is that we have many types of the projects being handled by project managers. That a lot of different tasks need to be done for each of those projects. So the PM process, if I want to talk about that, for each of those projects that we just saw, most of them at least have these 4 different phases: ideation, preparation, execution, and distribution. In the ideation phase, the PMs and the team tries to do the research and then do the project planning. In the preparation phase, they do the research organization and they develop the contents that, not themselves, but with collaboration with other teams, the contents that need to be done and given in that project. And then in the execution, they deliver the thing that they have created so far. And in the distribution, they do the documentation and they share the knowledge that they have gained in that project with the rest of the community. For each of those phases that we have, there are some core tasks. So for example, in terms of the communication, there needs to be a lot of emails being sent and replied in a timely manner, meetings being scheduled, updates, coordinations. In the documentation, so for each of those, we need to have documentation, we need to create reports, we need to have presentations tailored for each of the projects. And there's some templates that need to be there in place for the project tracking. Of course, if there are projects being done, they need to be tracked and they need to be monitored so that they can be used at that project and also for future projects. And a very important part is the stakeholder management. Try to manage the engagements with people inside and outside the Vector Institute and also get the feedback from people that are engaged in that project. So the tools and systems that project managers use are for project management are ClickUp and Salesforce. For documentation, they use Google Workspace and Microsoft Office, of course. For communication, Slack, email, and Zoom. And for file management, SharePoint and Google Drive. So there are not many new information here, but the point is that if you're going to talk about automation, we need to make sure that it takes into account all of those things. And we need to understand that for each of those projects that I mentioned in the previous slide, there are these phases, there are those tasks, and there are these tools that make accomplishing these tasks possible. And if you want to talk about the automation, we need to have an integrated process that can do all of those and can take into account all of those tools and systems. So the automation opportunities in PM processes. So for example, for the communication flow, as I told you, we are sending a lot of emails out and replying them. So automated email templates can be really helpful. And for document creation, So for each project that we have, there are many documents that need to be created, and at the moment, almost most of them are being created manually, like call for participation, presentation, and those types of presentations, and many other types of them, documents in different formats. And the progress tracking is another part of the project that can be automated, and the task management, of course, so that we make sure that all of the tasks and all of the deadlines that we have are being met at the right time. So the question here is that why is automation important? So the very first answer is efficiency. So we are spending a lot of time on doing a lot of tasks that can be done automatically, not manually. And it saves time, energy, and resources, of course. Increased accuracy. So we always have human error, even though we have a very good team, but still there are some human errors, of course, in any environments that humans are running things, there are human errors. So with a good automation, we can actually eliminate errors as much as possible. And mental bandwidth is something that you might not think of, but it is really important. So you might just think that sending out emails, that's not a very complicated task. But if you are talking about sending out emails for different projects to different people and all at once, maybe in less than 2-3 days, then it becomes much harder. Sending out each email might take like 20 seconds. But just the thought that you are going to send a lot of emails in like 2 or 3 days, it's going to really overwhelm anyone who is responsible for that task. So mental space is an important thing. And consistent delivery is another important thing. So we need to make sure that we are not missing any deadlines or any important dates. So automation can help us to keep a good track of those things as well. So with all of those, let me give you a practical example. This is a project that I was involved in, and I had the pleasure to work with Timmy, and also Thomas helped us a lot in this project. So it was a task that we wanted to automate the process of generating certificates after the bootcamp. So when a bootcamp is done, then up to this point, we didn't have those certificates, but we wanted to also issue certificates for the participants and for the teams that have been involved in that project, and different types of the certificates. And in each bootcamp, we might have more than 100 participants. So if a project manager wanted to do this, they needed to import the data from Salesforce into the Google Sheets, generate the certificates, distribute it, send out the emails, and then also update the tracking sheets and also the Salesforce itself. But the whole process could take maybe 15 or 20 minutes, even more, if they are really fast per certificate. But with an automation, we can do more than hundreds of that in just a matter of seconds. So what we did is that the whole process, data import from Salesforce to Google Sheets, the generation of or auto-populating the certificates, the distribution and the tracking afterwards, so that we have everything saved in our databases and also in our sheets. We made that all automated in just a couple of clicks. So that's what I'm talking about. That's what brings value here. So with that, I want to mention the hidden complexities behind automation. So we might think that, okay, automation, it might not be very hard. It can be done easily. If you put time, maybe 1 or 2 weeks on that, you can probably find out what you want to automate, and then you can start implementing, and after 2 months, you're good. But that's not the point. But that's not the case, actually, sorry. We have an evolving process. So whatever process that we have, whatever project that we are working on, they are still evolving. They are still getting better. So in each round, we might do something that is very new, or we might not do something that we were doing previously. So if we want to talk about automation, we need to have an automation that is robust and at the same time flexible to any changes that might occur in future. And we have resource constraints. So right now, I'm pretty sure that you know that project managers are really working so hard, because there are many different projects that they are handling at the same time, And there are many higher priorities. If you are doing something and you are engaging with participants at the moment, you can't just tell the world to stop just for 2 months so that we work on automation and then we will get back to you. You need to do the task that is your priority. So there are higher priorities right now than doing the automation. And diverse requirements is another thing. So still we have different tastes between project managers. One project manager might do a project in a different way, slightly different way than another project manager. So if we want to talk about automation, we need to find out those common places that everybody agrees on. And they are not going to say that, okay, this is good, very good for example, for Andres, but I'm Diana, I'm not going to use this. And technical integration is another thing. So I told you that there are many different tools being used in daily routine of a project manager. And if you want to have an automated process, you need to be able to integrate all of those together. For example, for the thing that I just told you, for the example of the automation, the integration between Google Sheets and Salesforce was something that was a little bit challenging. And, sorry. And despite these challenges, the long-term benefits of automation make it worth pursuing. So path forward, we need to start with low-hanging fruits. We need to focus on simple, high-impact processes first. We really need to avoid perfectionism. We don't want to do the automation all at once, and it's not impossible, and it's not possible, and no one can do that. And even if you put a lot of time on that, I don't think that you're going to get the result that you expect. The iterative implementation is another key. So we need to implement something as simple as possible, as impactful as possible, and then we need to apply it to our environment, get the feedback, refine it, get the feedback again, so that we make sure that we are in the right place, and then go to the next process that we want to automate. And measuring the impact, fortunately here, measuring the impact is very easy. If we have a lot of project managers that are using that, and if they're satisfied, if it is saving a lot of time with that, then we can say that this is a good thing. So we need to measure the impact and make sure that we have done the thing that was actually a requirement and a need for the team. And with that, we hope that we can build the momentum that it needs so that afterwards, the process of automating other processes that have not yet automated become easier, because we might get to a point that people have a better understanding of how valuable and how important it can be. And finally, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, it was not very possible to do, but it is completely possible to do now, to have an integrated AI pipeline as well with our processes. Just give you an example. Sending out emails with templates might not need an AI, but replying to emails might need AI. So it is actually something that is taking more time than sending out emails, because you need to, if you have a participant that is really important to you, whenever they are emailing you, you should reply them back, at least in the same day. So with sending out, with replying emails, we can use AI, and it can really be helpful. Not that we are going to omit the human in the loop. Of course, we are going to have the human in the loop and make sure that they accept the thing that AI has suggested, but this is the help that we can provide. And of course, it's a continuous journey, and I think that if you really want to do this, it might take more than a year, maybe 2 years. And with that, I'd like to finish my presentation. Thank you so much. If there's any questions. Yes, please.
Good question. Like, I wonder if the sponsors appreciate the automated email. Do they prefer that someone send it manually, or are they okay with it being like automated or even scheduled?
The sponsors?
Yeah.
I don't think that the sponsors will really know the difference. So the only difference that they are probably observe is that now they are receiving emails at the right time. They are receiving their schedule, their meetings, and are all in the calendar. So I don't think that they mind automation as well. So even if they know that we are doing all of these things automated, as long as we're doing it as neat as possible, I don't think that they mind it. At least it's my understanding. Yes, please.
Hi, great presentation. I think I could speak behalf of my team that automation saves a ton of time, prevents a lot of mental stress. I think there's always some hesitation with clicking a button that automates certain things like sending emails. And I think you mentioned that when you mentioned the iterative implementation and keeping a human in the loop. But how can you be confident in pressing that button and automating and hoping that something doesn't go wrong? Like something will go wrong, but I guess
I'll go one step forward. Even sending out the email, just clicking on send button is something that I'm always scared of. I'm always asking what if I'm writing something that is not proper. So that's a very good question. I think what we can do is that we can add some more steps. Not that we just get rid of the automation because people might not be confident with using it, but we can just add some more steps. For example, just for sending out emails, there might be another button that you can just send that email for yourself at first, and then make sure that the email that you have received is correct. Or just to show you the thing that it is gonna send before it sends, to make sure that everything is clear, ask you double questions to make sure, is that exactly what you wanna do? I think those are the things that we can use to make this process a little bit less scary. Thank you. Thank you so much.